Welcome to Trust Infrastructure, the foundation of trust in the AI era. As humans, AI systems, organizations, and communities become increasingly interconnected, trust is no longer just a social concept. It becomes infrastructure. Trust infrastructure provides the foundation for tracing, verifying, and coordinating intelligence in the next society. Intelligence is not merely contained within individuals. It emerges through relationships. Welcome to Chinoba. Intelligence as relationship. For a long time, humanity struggled with information scarcity. In the industrial age, knowledge was limited and difficult to access. The information age changed that. Search engines and the web made vast amounts of information available to everyone. And now, in the age of AI, large language models can summarize, analyze, and generate knowledge instantly. Search, web, social media, cloud, LLMs. Information is no longer scarce. It is everywhere. And that changes everything. However, AI has removed the final constraint. Today, generating information is no longer expensive. Text, images, videos, analytics, code, ideas, even autonomous agents. AI can create all of them instantly. The cost of generating information is approaching zero. As a result, humanity is entering an age of information explosion. More content, more data, more knowledge, more intelligence, but also more complexity. And abundance alone does not create understanding. It creates a new challenge. AI has brought an end to information scarcity. In the past, our challenge was simple. We didn't have enough information. We searched, and we tried to find answers. But today, the situation is completely different. Information is everywhere. Answers exist in abundance. AI can generate countless responses in seconds. The problem is no longer finding answers. The problem is deciding which answers we can trust. The age of information scarcity has ended. We have entered the age of trust. The more information we have, the harder it becomes to find the truth. Deepfakes, AI-generated articles, bots, and massive amounts of content. Information is growing faster than our ability to verify it. The question is no longer simply, what is true? The deeper question has become, who can we trust? This is the first turning point. Humanity is moving from the age of information to the age of trust. Trust matters more than ever. As information continues to grow, certainty becomes harder to achieve. We ask ourselves, what is true? Which source is reliable? Can we trust the data? Even experts may disagree. But in the age of AI, truth alone is not enough. Truth must lead to trust. And trust must enable coordination. Because societies, organizations, humans, and AI systems must work together. The question is no longer only, what is true? It is also, who can we trust? And ultimately, how do we coordinate? Trust is what connects truth to cooperation. And that is why trust matters more than ever. The real problem in the AI era is not the lack of information. In fact, information is increasing faster than ever before. But something else is happening. As information increases, trust decreases. And when trust decreases, the cost of coordination rises. Organizations experience more meetings. Misunderstandings become more frequent. Accountability becomes unclear. And decisions are delayed. The challenge is not information scarcity. The challenge is trust scarcity. Without trust, coordination becomes expensive. And without coordination, intelligence cannot emerge. This is why the AI era requires more than information. It requires trust infrastructure. Why do organizations become chaotic? It is not because people are incompetent. And it is not because there is too little information. In fact, the opposite is true. As information increases, interpretations multiply. Different teams see different answers. Different assumptions lead to different conclusions. And different perspectives create conflict. As conflict increases, the cost of coordination rises. Meetings become longer. Discussions become endless. And decisions become harder. The more information we have, the more disorder is automatically generated. This is not a human problem. It is a structural problem. And solving that problem requires more than information. It requires trust and coordination. Social issues have evolved. In the industrial society, the primary challenge was reducing transaction costs. Markets, contracts, regulations, and organizations emerged to make economic activity more efficient. Then came the information society. The challenge shifted to communication. The internet, mobile devices, cloud platforms, and social networks dramatically lowered the cost of sharing information. But now, in the age of AI, a new challenge has emerged. The challenge is coordination. How do humans and AI work together? How do multiple agents cooperate? How do we build trust across organizations and communities? The infrastructure that will support the next society is no longer information itself. It is trust and coordination. What is coordination cost? Coordination cost is the hidden cost of making people and organizations work together. Meetings, emails, approvals, reviews, verifications, adjustments. These activities are necessary. But as organizations become more complex, they consume more and more time. Information becomes scattered. Responsibilities become unclear. Approvals take longer. Duplicate work appears. And it becomes difficult to see the whole picture. Eventually, people spend more time coordinating with each other than doing actual work. This is coordination cost. And in the AI era, reducing coordination cost may become more important than increasing productivity itself. Trust is not an emotion. Trust is not simply liking someone. Trust is the expectation that others will behave in a predictable way. In other words, trust is a form of social prediction. When trust exists, coordination becomes possible. And when coordination becomes possible, collective action can emerge. Trust leads to coordination. Coordination leads to action. That is why trust is not just a feeling. It is a mechanism that makes cooperation possible. Humans trust humans. Humans trust AI. Organizations trust each other. And societies function because trust enables coordination. Trust is not about emotion. Trust is about making coordinated action possible. What is trust? Many people think trust means affinity, friendship, or emotion. We often say, "He's a nice person. We get along well. I feel comfortable with him." And we call that trust. But trust is something deeper. Trust is a future expectation. We observe past behavior. We recognize patterns. And we form predictions about future actions. In other words, trust is a rational expectation. It answers a simple question. Will this person continue to meet expectations? Trust is not merely a feeling. Trust is our ability to predict future behavior. And that ability makes coordination possible. Trust is infrastructure. Every society depends on invisible infrastructures. Communication society relies on TCP/IP. Financial society relies on payment networks. Logistics society relies on logistics networks. These infrastructures connect people, verify transactions, and enable coordination. The AI society is no different. As humans, AI agents, organizations, and communities become increasingly interconnected, a new foundation becomes necessary. That foundation is trust infrastructure. Trust infrastructure connects. Trust infrastructure verifies. And trust infrastructure enables collaboration across society. Just as the internet became the infrastructure of communication, trust infrastructure will become the infrastructure of coordination. Because the future of intelligence depends not only on information, but on trust. Infrastructure is invisible. Most of the time, we don't think about electricity. We don't think about water. We don't think about the internet, payment systems, or logistics networks. They quietly support our daily lives. And because they work, we barely notice them. But when they fail, everything stops. Without electricity, cities go dark. Without networks, communication breaks down. Without payments, commerce freezes. Without logistics, supply chains collapse. Trust works in exactly the same way. Most people do not consciously notice trust. But when trust disappears, coordination becomes impossible. Organizations stop functioning. Communities fragment. And societies become unstable. All human activities are supported by invisible infrastructure. And in the AI era, trust itself becomes one of the most important infrastructures of all. What is trust infrastructure? Trust infrastructure is the foundation that enables humans, AI systems, organizations, and communities to collaborate. It begins with identity. Who is acting? Then comes trace. What actually happened? From those traces, reputation emerges. Can future behavior be trusted? Verification ensures reliability. Governance provides rules and accountability. And ultimately, all of these layers enable coordination. Humans, AI systems, autonomous agents, organizations, communities, all are connected through relationships. Trust infrastructure provides the mechanisms that allow these different actors to cooperate safely and efficiently. Identity, trace, reputation, verification, governance, coordination. Together, these layers form the foundation of trust in the AI era. Trust is not a single thing. Trust is a structure built by connecting multiple elements. Everything begins with identity. Who is this person, organization, or AI? Then comes trace. What actions and records have they left behind? From those traces, reputation emerges. How are they evaluated by others? Next comes verification. Are the information and evaluations accurate? Governance defines the rules and frameworks that support trust. And ultimately, trust enables coordination. How can we work together? Identity, trace, reputation, verification, governance, coordination. These layers work together to create trust. In short, trust is not a feeling. Trust is a structure. Why is trust essential in the AI era? As the number of actors increases, complexity grows exponentially. We are moving from individuals to humans and AI, to multi-agent systems, to organizations, to communities, and ultimately to society itself. As connections increase, the same information can be interpreted differently. Understanding intentions becomes more difficult. Relationships become more complex. And risks and uncertainties expand. Without trust, coordination becomes impossible. Trust allows us to predict behavior. Trust allows us to cooperate. And trust allows complex systems to function. The more actors there are, the more important trust becomes. Because in the age of humans and AI, we cannot collaborate without trust. From information society to trust society, human civilization has continuously evolved. First came the information society, then the knowledge society. And today, we are entering the AI society. But AI alone is not the destination. The next stage is the trust society. A society where trust becomes the foundation of coordination. A society where relationships matter more than isolated capabilities. Where trust matters more than knowledge. where relationships matter more than individual performance, and where intelligence emerges not only from models, but from networks of humans, AI systems, organizations, and communities. Beyond the Trust Society lies the Runtime Society, a society that continuously coordinates and adapts in real time. Because intelligence does not exist inside isolated individuals. Intelligence emerges through relationships. Intelligence as relationship. That is the future we are beginning to build. Intelligence does not exist in isolation. For a long time, we believed that intelligence resided inside individuals, inside human brains, inside AI models, inside organizations. But the reality is much richer. Humans contribute knowledge, experience, and values. AI contributes computation, learning, and prediction. Organizations provide resources and decision-making structures. Communities create shared purpose and collaboration. And relationships connect everything together. Intelligence does not emerge from any single actor. It emerges from interaction, from communication, from trust, from coordination. Creative insights, discoveries, and value are born when diverse actors connect with one another. Intelligence is not something we possess. Intelligence is something we create together. Intelligence exists in relationships. And perhaps, that is the true meaning of intelligence in the AI era. For centuries, we have pursued knowledge. Then we pursued information. And today, we are entering the age of AI. But perhaps the next step is something different. Not knowledge, but trust. Not capability, but relationships. Not isolated models, but intelligence fields. Humans, AI, organizations, communities, and relationships all contribute something unique. And intelligence emerges not from any single entity, but from their interaction. As trust grows, coordination becomes possible. And from coordination, a new kind of society begins to emerge. A trust society. And beyond that, a runtime society, where humans and AI continuously collaborate, adapt, and evolve together. Intelligence is not something that exists inside us. It exists between us. Intelligence as relationship. Thank you, and welcome to the next society. Chinoba.org